Hey guys, make sure to check out G2A.com. A link is in the description below. They have really cheap PC games, Xbox Live codes, and a whole bunch more. Link in the description below. Yo guys, what's up? It's XRAYZ. Welcome back to another Call of Duty World War II video. Now, what I have for you guys today, I actually wanted to talk about something that I think is pretty important in regards to Call of Duty World War II, and that's going to be censorship. Because I think that a lot of people are not really concerned, but they're kind of interested or curious to see what exactly is going to happen when it comes to censorship of terms like, you know, Nazi zombies or the swastika logo in Call of Duty. You know, it's something that has been kind of censored or kind of changed up, like we did see on the Giant that they were changing the swastikas to the Iron Cross. So there's definitely a bit of censorship that we've seen in the past, but we weren't sure if we would see any changes or any drastic changes in Call of Duty World War II. And Michael Condrey even said during the live reveal stream that they were going to make sure they didn't shy away from tough subjects and stuff like that, kind of insisting that, you know, there wasn't going to be any heavy censorship on the actual story of the game. But there was actually some information found within some of the images that were kind of promoted, the secret images that you could find within the Enigma machine. And one of them is actually an image you guys can see on screen, which is a passport. Now on the passport itself, you can notice that it has the logo for, you know, the German swastika, or it's supposed to have it, but in the one that was shown off by the special images hidden on the website, it doesn't have it. It just has like the eagle and like a little symbol under it, not necessarily the swastika, which is what it's supposed to have. So already right there, this is starting to worry people in that, you know, maybe they're gonna censor this. And honestly, I'm one of those people that doesn't really care. Like, I honestly see the idea or the value of wanting to keep as much authenticity to this as possible and paying respect to the war and not wanting to change anything, because then you kind of feel cheated. But at the same time, it's not something to me that is enough to kind of cause me to not want to play the game or even bother me that much. But I do know that a lot of people care about authenticity and getting to, you know, be able to experience this war the way that it was meant to, or the way that it happened. Now, with that said, that was one thing I wanted to talk about. Censorship, to what extent will we see it? Will we see it at all to when the game is released? Now, we could maybe not see any kind of censorship. Maybe they just did it for now, and in the future there won't be any censorship, but we'll definitely have to see. Now, the other thing about censorship, to a point, and I guess it's kind of related to censorship but not really, is going to be the whole paying respect to the story of World War II. And what I mean by this is something similar to, for instance, are we going to see things like dabbing and whipping nays in the game, and super colorful weapons and, you know, dabbing and that kind of stuff? Because this was a huge event in human history. And so I don't know, I feel like if there was like dabbing and all this stuff in the game, then it kind of would take away from this war and this catastrophic event, and kind of downplay it and kind of not really pay respect to the story if they did all this stuff in multiplayer. Now, multiplayer is completely different. It's set within, you know, the World War II era. Obviously, that's what they're going to be going with. But do they have to follow and pay respect to it also in multiplayer? Should you be allowed to have some super bright, you know, tactical pink camo on your weapons, or be able to do dabs, or be able to do funny animations during the, you know, while you're playing the game? This is something that I think a lot of us have to discuss as a community as well, because I don't know if this is something that's necessarily okay with everyone. Some people think it's all right, they don't really care, it's multiplayer. Other people want it to be as authentic as possible. And today, Michael Condrey actually tweeted out, because someone was asking if we would be able to play as female soldiers in the game, and he was asking for his wife, who was a little bit worried. Michael Condrey replied with, absolutely you can. And after he replied with this, a just string of responses happened right after, with people absolutely enraged with the idea of there being a female soldier, a playable female soldier in Call of Duty World War II, because they were saying that there was no female soldiers. Now, the story that's being focused on is going to be the American side during the European theater, so it's going to be focused mostly on the Americans. But there was also mentions of female soldiers even during the reveal live stream, when Glenn Schofield was talking about meeting a resistance member who was this woman, this strong woman. And even during the reveal stream, when I heard that, I was like, were there any women who, you know, were in combat during World War II?
Powerful female leader of the French resistance, who forms a close bond with all our cast members.
Were there any female soldiers in World War II? I'm not sure. I'm not saying that it wasn't possible. I'm not sure. I might be wrong though. And I did some research, and actually there was during World War II, not specifically in the United States Army because they wanted to do it, but at the same time they knew that public opinion wasn't something that would be okay with this. So while there were women who were in non-combat roles, and there was definitely also many of them that were killed because of enemy fire, there wasn't any who were directly in combat, who were not directly in there on the front lines for the United States. But there were women during World War II who were involved, including like really horrible practices by the Japanese, who would actually have comfort women, which is what they would call them. Basically sex slaves who were supposed to satisfy the Imperial Japanese Army. In Australia, they definitely had soldiers as well. Canada, we had resistance warriors, again, like Glenn Schofield mentioned, and I was actually pretty surprised by this as well. But there were many women who were serving during the resistance in France, Italy, and Poland, and in the British SOE. So it was definitely a lot of women who were fighting, maybe not directly for the US, but fighting for the Allies. So I do see it as something that could be in multiplayer, because we did have women, whether they're not directly American women, but you know, French, Italian, Polish, you know, we'll definitely see. But I saw these people freaking out, and to me in my head I was like, does it really matter that much? And you know, if we're gonna go that far about complaining about women being in the game as playable ones, you know, maybe if they're American, maybe that'll be something that won't be historically accurate, but I don't think it's something that should be that big of a deal. And at the same time, I see how people have this idea that maybe they're pandering to trying to be politically correct or trying to not upset anyone. So I can definitely see where the other people are coming from, where they really don't want this to become like a watered down type thing where they're trying to satisfy everyone or please everyone. So it's definitely a topic that I think all of us need to talk about. So yes, there were women who were actually on the front lines, but they weren't directly for the US. So if we see them in the game, should they be specifically from Italy or from France or from Poland? Should they be specifically resistance fighters? Should we have also, you know, female soldiers in the American Army, characters like that in multiplayer? This is something that I think we need to discuss as a community. Honestly, with me, it's kind of okay just because I don't see any harm in it. And we did have women in the army who were in non-combat roles. But again, I see some people who are so passionate about this that, you know, they might be upset about it. So how do you guys feel about this? Again, with me, I'm not trying to start any fights. I wanted to talk about this. Do you guys want it to be historically accurate? And when it comes to that, even how far should we go when it comes to things like, you know, having dabs and having some crazy camos and having weapons maybe that weren't even from that era in the game? I know a lot of people are trying to keep it as historically accurate, but would you want to see something like that? Would you like to see a, you know, dab and stuff like that in multiplayer, have some fun, not be restricted by the era? And if we do that, if we are able to do stuff like really cool camos, then should we be able to also do things like having American soldiers that are women, or having things like, you know, settings that weren't necessarily in World War II, or weapons that weren't used until after World War II, like towards the end of the war, you know, that kind of stuff? How far, or where do we cross the line, or where do we draw that line in the sand? So I wanted to talk about that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. How do you guys feel about censorship in Call of Duty World War II? Are you okay with a little bit of censorship, a lot of censorship, no censorship at all? What do you guys want to see? So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I want to discuss this with you guys because it's pretty important when it comes to the game. And honestly, to me, it doesn't matter as much because I want to have a good game at the end of the day. And if the campaign is as historically accurate as possible, and, you know, maybe the multiplayer is a little bit looser on that end, then I'm totally cool with that, because I feel like it's something that would work. I feel like it's something that doesn't necessarily affect us because it's multiplayer. It's supposed to be fun. But anyways, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like on the video. Go ahead and subscribe if you are new, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single upload from the channel. Join the notification squad. I'm going to have more info, news on Call of Duty World War II coming, so make sure you guys subscribe and turn on notifications. If you guys want to talk about this even more, Twitter is the best place to do so. I talk about this all the time, along with just random conversations on Twitter. Best place to talk, so go follow me over there. Check out my gaming channel as well, link in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.